The processional is led by the University at Albany Grand Marshal Distinguished Teaching Professor Sue Fairman. Carried by members of the class of 2016, the gonfalons, signifying the academic disciplines of the University at Albany, are followed by flags from around the globe, representing the international diversity of the graduating students. Ladies and gentlemen, the members of the University at Albany graduating class of 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the members of the University at Albany faculty. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the class of 2016, please rise for the commencement platform party led by members of the Adirondack Pipe and Drums. The University at Albany Grand Marshal, Distinguished Teaching Professor Sue Fairman. Marshals Professor Mary McCarthy and Professor Stephen Messner. The University at Albany Deans. The Vice Presidents of the University at Albany. Our honored guests. Joseph Garber, President of the UAlbany Alumni Association. Rabbi Nomi Manon, Executive Director of University at Albany Hillel. Representing the class of 2016, Christian Palmer. Members of the University Council, Chairman Michael Castellana, Nancy Burton, James Clancy, James Jackson, Abner Jean-Pierre, Faculty Representative James Collins, Graduate Student Representative Caitlin Januski, Undergraduate Student Representative Mark Cohen, the Faculty Senate Chair, Cynthia Fox, the President of the Graduate Student Association, Catherine Sly, the President of the Student Association, Jarius Jamot, Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost James Steller. Today's commencement speaker, President and Chief Executive Officer of Minnesota Philanthropy Partners, Eric J. Jolly. New York State Senator Charles E. Schumer. And the 19th President of the University at Albany, Robert J. Jones.
President Jones, I declare that the 172nd commencement of the University at Albany, State University of New York, baccalaureate ceremony is now in session. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and remove your hats for the presentation of the colors, with the ceremonial flags being carried by the ROTC Mohawk Battalion Color Guard and the singing of the national anthem, which will be led by the University at Albany Chamber Singers.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave, home of the
Thank you, Your Excellency. Great job.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the invocation, which will be read by Rabbi Nomi Menon, Executive Director of UAlbany's Hillel.
Source of wisdom, this is the day that you have made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We are here today to celebrate and give you thanks for this ending, which is truly a beginning. Each of us has followed a different path to get here, but no one has done it alone. We remember with gratitude each parent, grandparent, spouse, child, and friend who supported a student on this journey. We honor with appreciation each faculty, staff, and administrator who opened the minds and warmed the hearts of countless students on this campus. Today we celebrate in a community where many are receiving academic degrees. Let us not forget, however, that only a tiny fraction of the inhabitants of this crowded global community hold such degrees. Therefore, we pray that we will use these degrees, the doors they open, and the knowledge they represent for the good of all humanity. With abundant joy and anticipation, we ask for your warmest blessing on all of those who have brought us to this moment. When uncertain, may you bring us clarity. When doubtful, may you bring us hope. And when inspired, may you help us to change the world. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I now have the great pleasure of introducing to you the 19th President of the University at Albany, Robert J. Jones.
Rabbi Mannion, Dr. Jolly, members of the University Council, honored guests, faculty, staff, alumni, family, and friends. And last, but certainly not least, the people who have brought us together today, the degree candidates of the class of 2016. It is my distinct honor to welcome you all to the University at Albany's 2016 Spring Commencement. As you may have noticed, we have a very special guest with us on stage this morning. It is my great honor to welcome New York Senior United States Senator Chuck Schumer. Senator Schumer brings an unmatched energy and passion and commitment not only to higher education, but to the people of the state and the nation. Senator Schumer has been a tireless champion for the University at Albany. Most recently, as you recall, Senator Schumer led the fight to save the Perkins Federal Loan Program. The senator came to campus and stood with me and many other higher education leaders and elected officials to speak out on the behalf of this critically important program. And through his leadership, the Senate passed a 2-year extension of the Perkins program, and I think that deserves a round of applause. I know he continues to advocate in Washington to extend the program further, and we are deeply appreciative of his very hard work on this and many other issues that make a difference in the lives of our students, our community, and the state. Knowing that he has an extremely busy schedule, we are very especially grateful that he has joined us today. It is my great honor and privilege to present to you our good friend, Senator Chuck Schumer.
Well, thank you, Dr. Jones. It's an honor to be here, and I want to thank Dr. Jones for the great job he, the faculty, the staff, all the way down to the people who keep University at Albany clean at night. You have made this institution one of the best of higher learning, not just in the capital region, not just in New York, but in the entire country. Job well done. Now it's my honor to address the members of the platform party, the friends and families of the graduates, but most of all, you, the class of 2016. Congratulations. Now, first, I'd like to announce my class gift. As you know, it's hard to pay for college. If you're poor, the federal government helps you out. That's a good thing. But what about the middle class? So a few years ago, I wrote a law. This is different than the Perkins program, but I wrote a law that said that you or your family, whoever paid for college, can take as a full tax credit $2,500 off your federal taxes for each year of college to help defray the cost of tuition, provided, in Washington there's always a provided your family income is below $200,000 a year. So, for those of you who come from families who make below $200,000, make sure you or mom or dad takes that credit. Last year, because it's relatively new, about a quarter of all the people who were entitled to it didn't take it. And if you or your family forgot, you can actually file a form with the IRS, a simple form, and get back 3 years worth of this. So you could get a check for $7,500. Not a bad gift. Now, what happens if you come from a family that makes above $200,000 a year? God bless you. I'd like to say a word to the moms and dads. I know how you feel. A few short years ago, my wife Iris and I sat where you did, watched our daughter Jessica come up on the platform and get her diploma. It was one of the greatest days of our lives. And if you're like us, you probably think back to the tough times. It's not easy these days being a parent. We thought of the time when Jessica was 5 months old. She had 106.5 fever. We had to rush her to the hospital, didn't think she'd make it. Praise God, she did. Then we remembered when we put her on the kindergarten bus for the first time. She ran to the back of the bus as it pulled away, waving goodbye out the back window, tears streaming down her little cheeks. But when Iris went to meet her at the bus's return at 2 o'clock, she bounded off the bus, happy as could be. She said, "Mommy, I came back." When we talked to her that evening, we realized what was going on in her head. She thought that was it. New parents, new family, new house, new room, new bed, new toys. And then, of course, we remembered Jessie as a teenager, when she didn't say much to us. And when she did, we didn't understand a word she said. And then, moms and dads, you see your daughters and sons get that diploma and become an adult before your very eyes. Congratulations to the moms and dads. And finally, one more note of thanks. As we're here today having a great time, there are young men and women from New York State, in our armed forces, overseas, in dangerous places, Iraq, Afghanistan. They're risking their lives for our freedom. Let's have a round of applause to them so we show them we remember them. Now, to this great class 2016, you've been given a whole lot of gifts. I've mentioned two: a great education. You know, only about a third of all the young people in America your age will get any college degree. And the degree you've gotten is a lot better than just about every other one. So you've got a great advantage, you have a leg up in terms of your education. Of course, you have families, they'll always have your back. They'll always be there for you. And here's a third advantage you may not have thought of. You're the first generation to grow up amidst all of this new technology. In 1988, a few years before most of you were born, that was the first year the word internet was used in print. There was no Google and no Facebook, no Instagram, no email, no text messaging, no emojis, no hashtags, no LOL. In 1994, the year some of you were born, there were 13 websites on the World Wide Web. That's it, 13. Now there are 15 billion. And that shows you how quickly technology is changing our world. And you know, your parents, your teachers, me, the older generation, we try to get used to this technology, but it's hard for us. We're learning it as adults. But you were born into it. Technology is to your generation like water is to a fish. You've been swimming in it your whole lives. And so the fact that you have gotten a great education at University at Albany, the fact that you have families that'll be with you and always have your back, and the fact that you're the first generation to instinctively understand and use this new technology means one thing. Now is the time, if there ever was one. Figure out what your dream is. Then reach high for it. See if you can attain that dream by reaching deep down inside yourself and see if you've got the stuff to do it. My advice to the class of 2016 is simple. Go for it. Now, sometimes you'll make the wrong choice, but if my experience is any indication, you'll pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move forward. But if you make the right choice, with a lot of hard work, a little luck, and some prayer, your life will be enriched forever. Now, I learned these lessons myself. When I was seated at college graduation several decades ago, as you are today, I learned that I had won a scholarship to travel all around the world, all expenses paid, for a whole year. For me, this was the opportunity of a lifetime. I had never been out of the country before. But at the same time, I met a girl and I fell in love. Well, class, I had to decide. Do I go around the world for a whole year on the all-expense-paid scholarship? Or do I stay home with the girl, my first true love? Class of 2016, what would you have done? Dr. Jones, they're divided. I stayed home with the girl. No, don't clap yet, you romantics in the front row. The story continues. That summer, she went on a brief vacation, and I went to the airport to meet her on her return. As soon as she got off the plane, I saw by the look on her face something was the matter. She dumped me by Labor Day. There I was, no scholarship, no trip around the world, no girl. I said to myself, what a loser you are. You're never going to make anything of yourself. Give up right now. And in fact, I stayed in my house for several months and moped around, feeling sorry for myself. But somehow, I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and moved forward. And a few years later, I found myself seated at graduation once again, this time from law school. But on the way home from law school, I told Mom and Dad I was not going to join the fancy law firm like we had planned. I told them that I love politics. My dream was to run for office, even though the chances of winning were remote. As you could imagine, my parents were shocked. My mother was particularly disappointed. You see, I came from a working-class family that struggled to send their son to college and law school. My father was an exterminator, never made much money. And the law firm was paying $400 a week, which in those days was a lot more money than my family had ever seen. But my dream was to run for office, and so that fall, at the age of 23 and against very long odds, I ran for the New York State Assembly, and I had 3 opponents. There was the party machine candidate, there was a neighborhood activist, and then there was my mother, who was telling all of her friends not to vote for me. So as she said, I'd get this dumb idea of being a politician out of my big, thick head. Well, graduates, a few years earlier, I sure didn't get that girl. But that November, I won the election. So, to this great class of 2016, go for it. You've been given 3 great gifts, at least 3 gifts. A wonderful education at University at Albany, families who will always be with you through thick and thin, and you're the first generation to instinctively understand and use this technology. In conclusion, it's my hope, it's my prayer, and indeed it's my confidence that you will use those 3 gifts wisely and well, and doing that, you will achieve your dream. To this great class of 2016, congratulations. Good luck. Godspeed, and don't you forget, go for it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Senator Schumer, for your passion and for the support to the University at Albany. Before we continue, let us take a moment of silence to remember our family members, friends, and colleagues and alums who are no longer with us. Thank you. You know, commencement is a very interesting word and a bit of a paradox. While it means beginning, this day also marks the end of an important chapter. Today is one of those rare moments in life where we have the opportunity to balance on the threshold of the future. And I want to invite you to take this opportunity to let this moment sink in and truly acknowledge the achievement that this day represents. I know that many people have helped you along your journey, especially our faculty. So would all UAlbany faculty members please rise and be recognized. We thank you for your dedication and for your support for these amazing graduates. During your time here, UAlbany has given you tremendous opportunities. As a student at this comprehensive public university, you have had access to world-class faculty members. You've had the opportunity to work in state-of-the-art research facilities. Through internships and education abroad, you have broadened your experiences and widened your worldview. You have expanded your knowledge beyond the easy answers and beyond the boundaries of our campus. You have exercised critical skills of teamwork and leadership. And you have probably made also many lasting friends and connections here. So I urge you to cherish and nurture those friendships. They will be critically important connections for you in the future. Through your volunteerism and community service, you have shown how you will build and advance your communities. Through all you have accomplished at the university, you have gained valuable experience and prepared yourselves for the future that awaits you. And that future desperately needs your ideas, your fresh perspectives, your passion for improving our communities and the world. With the challenges we face as a society, there has never been more urgency to have engaged citizens, enlightened leaders who can navigate the complex local and global dynamics. We need leaders in every field who can work across disciplines, across cultures, across geography, to create a future marked by understanding, compassion, and a better way of life for all. I believe your education here has put you in a very strong position to be those leaders. UAlbany's academic programs and culturally diverse environment has prepared each and every one of you to play an important role in the world, no matter what course your life and career take. So despite the challenges we face, I am very optimistic about the future. Looking out at over 2,000 new graduates of this university, it's easy to feel like we can truly change the world. One reason I feel so confident is that UAlbany is truly an amazing engine of opportunity, creating access and mobility to underserved communities, including first-generation college students. In fact, 43% of our current undergraduates will be the first in their class to earn a 4-year degree. 43%. I am so proud of this statistic because it shows that we are making the difference for students and their families and their entire communities. While these first-generation college students have amazing opportunities before them, they also face unique challenges, and we are working hard to make sure they succeed and make it to the finish line like all of you. You may have noticed a lot of purple and gold #1 stickers on some of our graduates' caps. These are to identify our first-generation graduates. And now I'd like to ask all of UAlbany's first-generation students that are graduating to please stand and be recognized. Congratulations to each and every one of you for reaching this very significant day. You may be seated. And today, all of our graduates join in a very distinguished group of global network of more than 170,000 UAlbany alums. So at this time, I would like to ask all of UAlbany alums in the audience to please stand and be recognized. We take great pride in our alums because they are having a positive impact in so many ways. They are teachers, doctors, government and corporate leaders, authors, artists, renowned researchers, scientists, performers, school superintendents, lawyers, entrepreneurs, and the list goes on and on. And I'm absolutely sure that there potentially might be a future president of the University of Albany out there somewhere. So I encourage today's graduates to remain involved as alum and to let the university community continue to be a resource to you. And I know that each and every one of you will bring your unique set of skills to the world. As Robert F. Kennedy once observed, it's not enough to understand or to see clearly. The future will be shaped by those willing to commit their mind and bodies to the task. I know that each of you holds that commitment for our collective future. For your dedication and for this very significant achievement, let me say again, congratulations to you. And let me just add a footnote here. I was just sitting there a moment ago and it occurred to me that many of you were freshmen when I started here almost 4 years ago. So we have a special bond. We've navigated this place together, and so I'm deeply proud to be here with you today to share this special moment. Congratulations. We will now move to our featured commencement speaker, a dear friend and colleague from the land of 10,000 lakes of Minnesota, and you can blame him for the weather that we're having today. He will be introduced by our Provost and Senior Vice President, James Steller.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Eric J. Jolly's lifelong work has been to educate, elevate, and give voice to people in his communities. Currently serving as President and Chief Executive Officer of the Minnesota Philanthropy Partners, he is doing just that. In fact, upon joining the organization in 2015, he declared his intention to create an environment that would support donors at all stages of life who are committed to strengthening their communities. He does this by matching donors' charitable resources with community solutions via numerous foundations and a network of more than 2,000 charitable organizations and donor funds. For a decade prior to joining Minnesota Philanthropy Partners, Dr. Jolly was president of the Science Museum of Minnesota, one of the nation's largest and most esteemed science museums. No stranger to the Northeast, Dr. Jolly spent time at the Education Development Center in Massachusetts, and before that held successive roles at several colleges and universities. Widely recognized for his work with communities and policymakers, Dr. Jolly has lectured around the world and is widely published. He serves on numerous boards and was even appointed by President Obama to the Institute of Museum and Library Services Board. He's a member of several honor societies and is a life member of the Society for the Advancement of Chicanos and Native Americans in Science. It is now my honor to introduce to you Dr. Eric Jolly, who will deliver the commencement address.
Thank you, Provost, President Jones, podium guest, students, families, faculty, and friends. Congratulations. I stand humbled before you, for you will accomplish great things. If I could paraphrase Peggy Goldthorpe, graduates, you are now the messengers to a future that I will not see. You are messengers to a future that many of us will not see nor share. And the hope and help that you have received from your friends, from your families, and for your faculty is their investment, their symbol of faith in what you will do, in the message that you will carry from the days you have spent with us by your side. But before I reflect on what type of messenger I hope you will be, I'd like to start with a short story. It's a story that was first shared with me by a young Methodist minister, and you'll soon learn that I don't recall them as well as they were told. But it was a story about a very curious young Cherokee boy. Sounded a lot like me. He was curious about everything. He'd take things apart and couldn't put them back together. He'd open doors and never close them. He was always asking why. And then one day, this very curious young man, well, sadly, he up and died. Of curiosity, of course, but having lived a great life and been generous alumni supporter of his institution, he was whisked up to the pearly gates, who was greeted by none other than St. Peter himself. St. Peter said, "Well, welcome, young man. I'm delighted to see you here, though, quite frankly, I was expecting you a little sooner." And our curious young man said, well, you know, St. Peter, there were things along the way, and he said, "I know, you were curious. Well, be that as it may, let me be the first to welcome you into the first rooms of heaven." And with that, St. Peter reached back and touched the latch to open the doorway to the first gate into heaven. And as he lay his hand upon the latch, our curious young man said, "St. Peter, I was wondering, before we go into the first room of heaven, could I'm curious, could I take a quick tour of what I passed up along the way to get here?" St. Peter said, "You mean?" He said, "Yes, could I have a quick tour of hell?" Now, no one had ever asked St. Peter for that before, and there were no rules against it, and the young man was, if nothing, curious. He had always been generous, and so St. Peter took the young man by the hand, inhaled a long, blessed breath, and they leaped over two clouds and down a chute, and they stood at the doorway to the first room of hell. And as St. Peter put his shoulder to the rusted-out knob and twisted it, he opened the door. He took our curious young man in, and I don't know how to tell you this, President Jones. They saw an area very much like this. There were about 12,000 people gathered, and around the front there was this huge podium. It was covered with endless variety of food, fish and beef and chicken and pork, the other white meat. There's nut meats and desserts. The aromas filled the air, and gathered around this bountiful, beautiful table in hell were 12,000 gaunt and starving people. Because in hell they strap a 3-foot-long knife on your left forearm and a 3-foot-long fork on your right forearm. And in hell, the best that you can do is cut small scraps and hope that they'll fall into your mouth. Well, it didn't take our curious young man long before he said, St. Peter, I've seen enough. We can go now. With that, St. Peter let out his blessed breath. He took the young man by the hand. They went up the chute over 2 clouds, and with some relief, St. Peter turned the latch and opened the doorway to the first rooms of heaven. And as they walked in and looked around, I'm delighted to tell you, they saw a space that looked exactly like this. There were over 12,000 people gathered in this beautiful, bountiful area covered with a nice variety of beef and chicken and nut meats and desserts, an expanded vegetarian section for those who cared. And around this beautiful, bountiful table in heaven were 12,000 well-fed and a few portly individuals. Yes, there are calories in heaven, they tell me. But you see, in heaven around this bountiful table, well, in heaven they strap a 3-foot-long knife to your left forearm and a 3-foot-long fork to your right forearm. But in heaven, they've learned to feed each other. And that, I was told, is the difference between heaven and hell. It's a story I wanted to share with our graduates today because it is a story of interdependence. It's a story of community. It is a story of shared responsibility and mutual interdependence. Graduates, you are about to achieve a degree that will give you entry to a world that many are denied. You will have a stronger voice. You will have more impact. You will have more access. Graduates, your degree gives you the power to lead in civic discourse and to start conversations for those who don't have the voice, the degree, the power. What kind of messengers do I hope you will be? I hope you will be a messenger who understands your role as a model for others, a messenger who understands your role as a mentor, a teacher, and a leader. As I think about that story, I hope you will recognize that every player in it chose not to be passive, but to be active. Graduates, be the messenger who is active. Remember that you will continue learning. A degree is not simply a certification of knowledge. That knowledge will get old. A degree is a license to learn. You have the ability to shape many futures, not just your own. Be a messenger who leads. Open discussions in the areas where others are afraid. Speak for those without voice, and use your knowledge to advance this world. Today, only a third of those who you went through high school with will have the degree, the access, the power that you've achieved. Only a third will share the responsibilities and the ability to start changing the world. You are our messengers, and you are the ones that will shape this world, this future that we will not see. Now, you've just spent 4 years, a few of you 5, a couple 6, to earn a degree that puts you in a world of privilege, a world that needs your knowledge and your ability to transcend disciplines, unite ideas, and speak for people. And at this moment where you are thinking about the party you're going to head out to, I stand before you and say, think about doing just one more thing. And so when I ask you to do one more thing, after all that you have achieved, after every day you have risen and worked, I want to share with you a story, finally, about the power of just one more thing. I was a young faculty member in Portales, New Mexico, and I wanted my students to meet the minds of great psychologists. I looked in the mirror and I thought it wasn't going to be me. So I called some colleagues and I asked them if we read a book, a chapter, something you wrote, can we speak to you and have a conference call or a video chat? Didn't have a video chat. That meant put their photograph on the phone. And a few wonderful, generous people agreed. Your faculty will know these names. Some of you have studied them. Patricia Self, Albert Ellis, Arnold Lazarus, B.F. Skinner, Carl Rogers, and a person named Viktor Frankl. Now, Viktor Frankl is important to psychology because he created logotherapy, which is the therapeutic application of existential philosophy, not something you need to worry about today. But what I would want you to know about Viktor Frankl is he was a student of Sigmund Freud's. And every day he would work with Freud in the clinic. He'd come home enthused and happy, and then one day he came home with a vision. He was completely charged. He had seen a way to transform psychoanalysis and bring it into the next century. From that moment on, it was his passion. It meant everything to him. And he'd work until wee hours of the morning, writing his ideas on paper, saving his notions, often neglecting his diet, his family, his friends. What you should also know about Viktor Frankl is he was Jewish. And one evening while he was working on this manuscript, the Nazis came to arrest him. And he did a remarkable thing. He ran into this restroom and he wrapped nearly 300 pages of manuscript under his shirt, where he smuggled it into the concentration camp, hiding it under the slats that he was sleeping on. And there, for nearly a month, he kept his ideas, his vision, his passion alive. Until one day the Nazis discovered his manuscript, and then right in front of him, one page at a time, they burned his life's work, his vision, and his passion. And later that same week, in separate camps, they burned his wife and his children. Well, Viktor Frankl was cast into a horrible despair, even though he was rescued, if you could call it that, just weeks before his number tattooed inside of his left forearm was up. And he hid out from the rest of the world for months, going on years, until one day he had another insight. And he abandoned psychoanalysis completely, and he wrote this new book called, it's stated by its title, Man's Search for Meaning. Our students had read that book, and we had Viktor Frankl on the phone. This was the days of low tech. You had to sit in front of the speakerphone, and so I collected the sentences and questions from each student and put them in some sort of logical order. And we sat there, and the first student asked her question, and you knew you'd engaged a brilliant mind on the end of the phone. The second student was just excited to talk to Viktor Frankl, and the third student, well, he worried me a little because he sauntered on up the phone. And then he did not ask the question he submitted. Instead, he asked of Viktor Frankl, he said, Dr. Frankl, if your therapy is so good, could you have cured Adolf Hitler? How crass, how crude. We just sat there stunned, waiting for the inevitable click buzz that was about to happen when the landline got hung up. Now, 30 seconds is a lot of silence, especially when you're paying long-distance rates to Austria on a faculty member's salary. And then Viktor Frankl said something I will never forget. He said, Hitler could have been a painter. Well, I wasn't from Harvard yet, so I stepped forward and I said, huh? And Frankl said, Hitler spoke about it all the time. He wanted to be an artist. He tried murals. He knew they were ugly. Smaller canvases they wouldn't sell until finally he was trying to sell his artwork, pencils of postcards on the sidewalk. And not once, said Viktor Frankl, not once did someone say to a young Adolf Hitler, I see your passion for your work. I see how important it is for you. Never give up your passion. Said Viktor Frankl, but for the lack of one kind word at the right moment, well, maybe Hitler could have been a painter, and much of the world would have been changed. Now, I sat there, and we continued our conversation with Viktor Frankl for another hour, but I was thinking about a conversation that I couldn't get out of my head. It was a time far less consequential to the world when I was sitting on the steps of the library, finishing up degrees in psychology, mathematics, and physics, and deciding that I should drop out and take my father's advice, become an auto mechanic. Physics wasn't calling to me yet. Psychology seemed like too fast a route to the unemployment line. This was 35 years ago, 40. And as I was about to drop out of school, now I could have been a good mechanic. I can still rebuild a generator. They just don't still put them in cars. One faculty member stopped and he said to me one sentence that changed my life. And because of that sentence, I completed my bachelor's, my master's, my PhD. I've had a chance to travel this wonderful world and seen so much of it. I don't have a lot of regrets. And when I remembered that one sentence that kept me from dropping out of school, that kept me striving for an education, that taught me to give voice to others, I ran down the hall and I called him up and I said, Richard, this is Eric Jolly and I want to thank you for, and he said, who? And that's what I understood it. Every culture, every community has it. Some call it a mitzvah, some a coup, some an act of grace. It's that one moment when you reach beyond yourself, when you have spoken up, when you have modeled, that one moment when you may have mentored or taught, that you have touched the future. Graduates, I believe in my heart, if before each of you put your head to the pillow every night, you can look back and see that one time when you reached beyond yourself, touched someone else, gave them hope, gave them voice, taught them that you were not afraid to use the power of knowledge you have gained and had certified today. Well, I believe if each one of you does that every day, that we can change the world. I believe that Hitler could have been a painter, that we can learn to feed each other. And I thank you for your gifts to our future. I do stand humbled before you.
Thank you, Dr. Jolly, for your very insightful words. It is now my privilege to introduce Kristen Palmer, a graduating senior. Oh, I see he brought a few of his close personal friends with him. Good. Kristen is graduating with a Bachelor's of Science degree with a dual concentration in Business Administration and Marketing. He's also a Purple and Gold student ambassador, and in recognition for his academic achievements this semester, he received the Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence and a 2016 President's Outstanding Senior Award. And because of these and other achievements, he was able to apply for and earn the chance to be your student speaker this morning. So now it is with great pleasure I welcome Kristen from the class of 2016.
Oh, man. Good morning, President Jones, Provost Steller, Dr. Jolly, honored guests, faculty and staff, alumni, families, shout outs to the families, and most importantly, the class of 2016. I am honored to stand before you this morning. It's truly a blessing, and thank you for this great opportunity. For those who know me, you know that I'm always sharing stories, right? Nothing's changed. That's exactly what I'll be doing today, is sharing a story. But it's not no ordinary story. It's a story that has made me who I am today. Because you see, my college journey on this campus has been a product of the Latin motto, Sic Parvis Magna, greatness from humble beginnings. In my earlier years, my hero, my abuelita, my grandmother, taught me compassion, love, respect, integrity, honor, and faith. She is my link between Guatemala and the United States and represents my humble beginnings. She taught me the importance of listening, communicating, connecting, and most importantly, the need to take pride in all that I do. Not only she did plant a seed, but she grew me into the man you see today. You see, it was the little things about my grandmother that inspired me the most. The lending of my grandmother's hand, the laughs, the jokes, the open door policy. But my ultimate favorite, story time. All of her stories had one common theme, a theme that has been instilled in me since I was just a little kid. She told me, Christian, siempre págalo adelante. Christian, always pay it forward. She sits here today, watching as I proudly represent this year's outstanding class of 2016. As a clear example of what our World Within Reach university motto stands for. As a high school student, college was never in my vocabulary. It wasn't until I listened to the conversations of my peers and later admired their academic excellence that I developed the hunger necessary to learn and succeed. So I took the initiative and filled out college applications. I applied, and boy, I had a bad record. I was 0 for 4. Then one sunny afternoon, that all changed. I received my first college acceptance letter in the mail. The first thing I read in big, bold letters, congratulations, exclamation point. I looked at my mom and said, Mom, I'm going to college. But she looked at me with a smirk on her face and said, but Christian, how much is it going to cost? I said, Mom, don't worry about that. I want to go to college, Mom. I'll find a way. I promise. Mom, I'll find a way. I promise. Oh. We got this. So we signed out for the open house that day. I never planted a foot on the college campus before. This was the first time, not only for myself, but for my family as well. But you see, God works in mysterious ways. He puts opportunities in front of you in hopes that you'll take it. All I needed was that one opportunity, and I received it through the University at Albany. I found that way. Ma, I told you I was going to find a way, right? And I found it. It was UAlbany faculty and staff that saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. And then looked at my parents and said, "You have a good kid." It was the motivation from my friends, family, and grandmother running through my veins, reassuring me that I could do this. And I did. I have made the greatest investment in my life. So I stand here as one of 10 2016 SUNY Chancellor's Excellent Award recipients, a dedicated purple and gold student ambassador, an intern for multiple Fortune 500 companies, and an internally loyal Great Dane. I took advantage of all this university has to offer. And today, I'll be graduating from the School of Business and pursuing my full-time placement at NBC Universal this summer. At UAlbany, I found myself. My counselors and classmates of the Educational Opportunities Program, shout outs to EOP, provided me with a home away from home. EOP instilled in me a spirit and pride. This investment was a foundation for my transformation into the man you see today. A former residential assistant, a student leader at Campus Center Connections, the Vice President of Association of Latino Professionals for America, and a proud brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Shout outs to the good brothers. Fellow graduates, I want to share with you our collective responsibility as individuals, as students, and soon to be graduates to pay it forward. As we prepare to move beyond our undergraduate years, it is my hope to share a mission and responsibility with you all, a mission to embrace new humble beginnings and a better way of life for yourselves, a life that my parents wish they had and fought every day to create for my two younger brothers and I. So we stand here, diplomas in hand, optimism in our hearts, and testaments of success that can be yours if you're both persistent and perseverant. Take your time. Get involved with the community. Inspire those around you. And most of all, pay it forward. Never be afraid, as life will come at you in all shapes or forms. I wish you all bright tomorrows and roads where your dreams live. Never forget the University at Albany, and always remember all that it did for us. Finally, on behalf of my grandmother, ask that we, the class of 2016, remember to always pay it forward. Beyond your neighborhoods, beyond the classroom, and most importantly, beyond the limits you place on yourselves. After all, the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Now and forever, we are Great Danes. Congratulations to the class of 2016. We made it. I'm not done yet. I'm back. Now introducing the president of the Student Association, Jarius Jaman. Jarius?
Wow, this is certainly a view I'll probably never forget in my life. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Christian, and thank you for a wonderful year, the class of 2016. We finally made it. President Jones, would you please join me at the lectern for the presentation of the senior class gift? The class gift is a chance for the class of 2016 to leave a lasting impression on UAlbany and to leave our alma mater even stronger than when we founded. It is a symbol of the fact that the university is only as great as the students, parents, and alumni who continue to support it. The 2016 class gift will support UAlbany Unite, a video contest for UAlbany students. 13 participating groups created and submitted a short video about their student group and why they deserve funding. Students, parents, alumni, faculty, and staff viewed the videos and made donations in support of their favorite groups. On behalf of the class of 2016, I present the University of Albany Foundation with this check for $24,059.97.
Jarius and members of the class of 2016, on behalf of our entire university community, it is indeed a great honor and pleasure for me to accept your very generous gift on behalf of the entire community and assure you that the gift will be used to continue to advance the student experience on this campus for decades to come. So thank you very, very much, and again, congratulations. It is now my great pleasure to introduce to you Joseph Garber of the class of 2002 and 2005, and he's the president of the University of Albany Alumni Association. So Joe, we're glad to have you with us today.
President Jones, platform guests, family and friends, distinguished faculty, fellow alumni, Christian. To you and your colleagues, the graduates of the class of 2016, as president of the Alumni Association, it's my honor to join you today on your special day. To quote the great historian, Future, what a time for you all to be alive. I'm a proud Great Dane. On behalf of the over 170,000 alumni of this great institution, it's my pleasure to welcome you to University Alumni Association. Having been myself where you are today, I know the joy and perhaps even a little of the trepidation you may be feeling as you face your future. I want you to remember that the Alumni Association is here to help. I encourage you all to explore all that we have to offer and take advantage of us as often as you wish. Our goal is the same as yours, for you to be as successful as you possibly can be, because your success is our success. There are currently UAlbany alumni in all 50 of the United States and in 129 countries spanning 6 continents. And today, you join that remarkable family. Whether through GOLD, graduates of the last decade alumni events, regional networking get-togethers, on-campus activities and sporting events, career advisory services, or the use of our social media sites, the Alumni Association can help you stay connected to the friends and family you've made here and continue to take advantage of the vast resources available to you at the University of Albany. So today, as we send you on your way, I won't say goodbye, as I hope this is not the end. Rather, I'll say, until we all meet again. Congratulations to you all and good luck. UA? UA? Good luck to you. I'm not done either. It's now my pleasure to introduce the University of Albany Chamber Singers, who will sing the Alma Mater, which is printed on page 47 of your program. Please rise.
State, mother of an army great, thou the molder of our faith, thee we sing today. Thine the hand with clasp so strong, holding though thy years be long, thou the burden of our song, thee we sing today. Ways of pleasantness are thine, leading wherein wisdom's shrine, joy and cheer and hope divine, ever dwell for aye. Thine the voice whose call we hear, thine the hand which holds us near, thine the heart so true, so dear, cherished, loved alway. Wisdom's duty heeds thy call, ever in Minerva's thrall. Pass the torch from one to all, guide each destiny. 'Neath the purple and the gold, let thy history unfold. Sons and daughters, young and old, hail to Albany.
Graduates, you are joined today by members of your family, your parents, grandparents, siblings, as well as members of your extended family and friends. Each of them has helped you reach this significant moment in your life. Before we begin the centerpiece of the undergraduate ceremony, the recognition of our graduates, please stand now. Turn to your families and friends and let them hear how much you appreciate all they have done for you. Please be seated. And now, on to the centerpiece of our ceremony. President Jones, Dr. Jolly, Christian, honored guests, graduates, family members, and friends. Among our graduates today are those who are graduating with academic honors, cum laude, magna cum laude, or summa cum laude. The names of these honors graduates are signified by an asterisk in your program, and the graduates themselves are wearing honor medallions. I ask those students who are graduating cum laude, magna cum laude, or summa cum laude to please rise now and receive our congratulations. President Jones, graduates, family members, and assembled guests, we now move to the recognition of all of our bachelor's candidates who will receive their baccalaureate under a wide range of academic majors that comprise the University at Albany undergraduate degree. The degree candidates will now be introduced by Jeanette Altariba, Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education.
It's a great day to be a Great Dane. We will now recognize the degree candidates by school and college. Will the degree candidates with majors in the School of Business please rise to receive the congratulations of this gathering? I present to you the degree candidates of the School of Business. Please be seated. Next, will the degree candidates with majors in the Nelson A. Rockefeller College of Public Affairs please rise to receive the congratulations of this gathering. The degree candidates of the Rockefeller College of Public Affairs and Policy. Congratulations. Next, will the degree candidates with majors in the School of Public Health please rise to receive our congratulations. Now, I'll ask the degree candidates with majors in the School of Social Welfare to please rise and receive our congratulations. We now recognize the degree candidates with majors in the College of Nanoscale Science and Engineering. Please rise to receive our hearty congratulations. Please be seated. Will the degree candidates with majors in the School of Criminal Justice please rise to receive our congratulations. Degree candidates with majors in the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences, please rise. Congratulations. You may be seated. All right. Are we ready? The degree candidates with majors in the College of Arts and Sciences, please rise to accept our congratulations. I present to you our degree candidates from the College of Arts and Sciences. Please be seated. I now ask all candidates for the degrees Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science to rise for the conferral of the degree. Please rise. President Jones. These candidates have completed a program broadly based in the fundamental fields of the arts and sciences with specialized study in one of the schools or colleges of arts and sciences, business, criminal justice, engineering and applied sciences, nanoscale science and engineering, public affairs and policy, public health, or social welfare. In the name of these faculties, I have the honor of presenting these candidates to you, that you may confer upon them the degree Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science as appropriate.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the State of New York and the trustees of the State University of New York, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Bachelors of Arts or Bachelors of Science as earned with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereunto. Congratulations, class of 2016. Congratulations. All right, thank you. Thank you. I never seen purple and gold look so good. Congratulations again. Before we close the ceremony, I'd like to ask Sue Ferriman to join me at the lectern. Alumna, Dean, Interim Dean, Distinguished Teacher, Professor, Vice Provost, Dean of Undergraduate Education, Director, Member of the Commencement Steering Committee, Research Associate, and also, most recently, the University of Albany's Grand Marshal. More than 35 years here at UAlbany, and literally, she's been involved in transforming the very landscape on which we stand today, and has impacted thousands of students, faculty members, staff, and administrators. Dr. Ferriman is decided to retire, and we want to recognize you for all that you have done to transform this university over 35 years, and to offer our deepest thanks for your loyalty, for your commitment, your contributions, and present you with these purple and gold flowers as a momentum of our appreciation for your dedication and service. So congratulations. We wish you well. Don't forget to write, and we certainly won't forget to come visit you. Thank you very much, Sue.
Wow. President Jones, I declare that the 172nd commencement of the University at Albany is now concluded. We invite graduates to remain on the plaza lawn to reunite with your family members while the platform party exits the stage. Class of 2016, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the commencement ceremony.